Hey friends, it's me, your pal Kelly Zemnikas. Welcome to episode number 48 of It'll Be Fine. More than likely. We are still a socially distant, still a baking food chat show. And on today's show, we are having a fantastic food chat with the very funny and the very kind, and I can't think of a better combo. Kevin Shawanda is on the show today. He is coming to us from his home in Sudbury, Ontario. And Kevin is a comedian that I have gotten to know through doing shows online. So, you know, I've mentioned it before, but I fucking love doing these shows online because I'm connecting with folks that I might not have otherwise. And Kevin, oh gosh, I am so glad our paths crossed. I certainly am. Kevin is introducing me today to a dish that is close to his heart and his culture. And oh, I'm so glad it is now in my repertoire. Indian tacos, also known as Navajo taco. It combines tacos, I love tacos, and fried bread. This just is perfect as far as I'm concerned. Will I be able to fry bread? Yeah, well, we're about to find out. Here's hoping. And on today's show, we are offering some love, offering some attention to the Gord, Downie, and Chanie Wenjack Fund. And, you know, as a non-Indigenous Canadian, I need to learn, I need to know more, I need to do better, learn as much as I can, and this is a great place to go. If you're able to support them financially, that is awesome, but also just give their site a look, do some reading, educate yourself. Can't think of anything better, man. We're in for a good time today. Will I be able to fry bread? I certainly hope so. It's gonna be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
All right, here's what you are going to need to do the fry bread. It's a big day in the Kelly household. New bag of flour. Need some all-purpose baking flour. You're going to need 1 cup. You will also need 1 teaspoon of baking powder. You are going to need a pinch of salt, so about like 1/8 of a teaspoon. So Kelly still has lots of kosher salt. If anyone was checking, I still have a lot. And 1/3 of a cup of hot water. That's all you need. How easy is that? So what you're going to do is you're going to take the baking powder, not soda, the salt and the flour, and you're just going to give it a bit of a mix here. Nothing too complicated. This is going to make 2 breads. So yeah, you're just gonna mix that together like that. And then you're going to take 1/3 of a cup of hot water. So we've got our dough here. It's a nice soft dough, which is pretty awesome. And what we are going to do now, get that off my finger there. So what we are going to do now is take a towel and you are going to leave this be for 30 minutes. And in 30 minutes, this is gonna happen. Right, so the dough is ready to go. It's looking awesome. And what we're gonna do is roll it out and make 2 little taco shells, okay? I don't have a skillet. The recipe calls for doing this in a skillet. So I'm just using a pot about this size just to protect myself. I'm gonna put on my apron. Safety first, friends. Safety first. I'm excited. I'm excited. You say taco, I say yes. So yeah, I'm down. So what we are going to do is get some oil into the pan, and you want enough that the bread is going to have, you know, room to soak. All right. So just gonna do enough here. Gonna get this hot, and yeah, if you're a younger folk watching the show, get your parents to help you, you know. I would get my parents to help me doing this, but we still have to be socially distant. So anyhow, all right, so we're gonna get this hot. We have got, let me just show you here. So you're gonna roll your dough out onto a nice floured surface, not too floured. But yeah, we got this guy here. Gonna crank up the pan a bit. This is gonna be hot. So we've got one fry bread. Yay!
Life in general, like it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Like I'm having like it's good that I'm back at work. But recently like I was able to go home and visit finally my reservation because
Awesome.
they had like blockades set up, like checkpoints, because well, like a good portion of the native population is either like diabetic or asthmatic or older. So
Right.
they're like a really super at-risk population for like the ill effects or for
Yeah.
deaths due to COVID. So
Absolutely. Now, I didn't know that the population was more likely to be diabetic or asthmatic.
well, diabetic 100% for sure. I know that there are like a lot of people that have asthma. I don't know if like that's like just anecdotal or what,
Yeah.
but like
Interesting.
I know that the native population in general is like has a higher risk for diabetes. And that's just because like, you know, the poorer you are, the less likely that you're able to feed yourself in a healthy way, right?
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Food is super important. I remember growing up, there was a kid, my grade school in Etobicoke, where I
Oh
lived
yeah.
when we moved to Toronto, lived in the
Mhm.
suburb of Etobicoke. But there was this one kid every single day, breakfast, lunch, and apparently after school, he would go for dinner to McDonald's with his grandmother.
Ooh.
And
Oh boy.
I have to wonder if that kid like made it to 16. Like, like I just don't know. That's
Yeah, that's not the healthiest of diets, I imagine, right?
no, no,
Oh
definitely
man.
not. But definitely healthy is what we tucked into today.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
tacos.
100% we are eating healthy food today.
Oh my gosh,
Which is like, oh yes, you got the tacos going on.
dude, I'm
I
so
actually
excited.
I literally just got back from the convenience store to get these hot dogs. So
Awesome.
I'm gonna make them up later. I think I'm gonna wait a little bit for that.
No worries. I am so eager to get into trying this. Now, I have been cooking, like I've been in the kitchen
Hmm.
since I was a kid. Like I loved going and just playing with food. I grew up with parents who really encouraged my brother and I to just try anything. What was
Hmm.
it like for you growing up? Did grandparents or parents really encourage you to be in the kitchen and learn?
Okay, so first things first, like I was adopted when I was like 6 years old.
Okay.
Like within the family, like my mother, biological mother, wasn't really capable of raising me at the time, right? And so there was a lot of food that I didn't really know of until
Yeah.
after the woman that I now call my mother, who raised me. There was a lot of food that she provided that I didn't necessarily know existed, right?
Oh
Like
wow.
gravy on potatoes, you know. Like I was like, I'm not gonna eat these potatoes; they're dirty, you know, and stuff like that. And I thought that like the seeds inside tomatoes were bugs, like fresh tomatoes.
No way.
Yeah, like I was like, there's just a lot of stuff that I didn't really like have
Oh,
access to, I suppose. But yeah.
yeah. That's wild.
Mhm.
That's really great. That's really
Yeah.
cool though. Yeah. I I was like a very adventurous eater as a
Hmm.
kid, um, which I'm grateful for, but it's funny now as I've gotten older, I would rather not know what it is and then eat it and be told. But as a kid, it was like, what is this? Sure, pile it in my mouth, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's sort of funny that that I sort of pushed for the Indian tacos or
Yeah.
the Navajo tacos, whatever it is that you want to call them, because if you know a Native person and they grew up, I don't know about so much about people that like Native people that grew up in urban settings, but
Mhm.
I know on the reservation that everybody knows who makes the best scone. That's just
Right.
automatically like, everybody knows who makes the best scone. You have a friend that's like, oh, their mom makes the best scone, and if somebody says anything different, then that's serious
Yeah.
business, right?
Yeah.
So
And for your group of your circle of friends and family, who makes the best one that you have to go to?
my friend Russell's mom, Doreen, definitely makes the best scone. Like she's the lady, like when you have like community dinners and stuff like that, like say uh King's Day feast, so like All Saints Day,
Yeah.
like the day after Remembrance Day. That's a big thing in Native culture.
Okay.
So like they have like big community gatherings and stuff like that, or like after funerals. Like if somebody needs fry bread to be made, Doreen makes it.
Amazing. Now, what is the difference with fry bread and bannock? Is there much of a difference? Is it
No,
basically
not
the same
really.
thing?
It's like just like different names for the same thing, pretty much. I
Gotcha.
think I don't really know per se,
Yeah.
but scone, bannock, fried bread, all names for the same thing. It's
Right.
just bread that you put into some oil and you fry up, and it's delicious.
It's amazing. Do you mind if I just try a bite of this? Because like this
Eat
is my
it.
first experience with doing this,
Okay.
and I was super
What?
scared to like fry stuff in oil. Like as an
Yeah,
adult, I'm
yeah.
still like, "Ugh."
What's the consistency like? Is it fluffy or is it hard?
This is like medium. So for a first attempt, I didn't get a complete like block of brick, which I'm glad.
Yeah, yeah. That's like
But it's
that's a
like
big
chewy.
thing. If
Yeah.
you overwork it, oh boy. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, this is so good.
I know.
Oh my God.
You're welcome. So, okay, for the next time that you do it, I see how you have it.
Mm-hmm.
What you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want like just one big piece in the middle of your plate, and you're gonna smother it with chili and lettuce,
Okay.
tomato, cheese, and you eat it with a fork and a knife.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. I can do
but
that.
that looks delicious. So you sent me a picture, and it looks amazing.
I'm like ugh, my mouth was drooling like looking at the recipe when you sent it to me, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah. Oh, my light here, I think it's like sort of making me darker than I am. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. We can tour your kitchen there. Now, where exactly are you? I'm based out of Toronto, but like we've actually never met in person before. I don't know
Hmm.
a
I'm
ton
actually from
about.
Sudbury.
Okay. My
Yeah.
sister-in-law's family is in Sudbury.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
Oh,
travel like I've done like a bunch of like mics and stuff like that in Toronto, like
yeah.
through like work or whatever. I'm there visiting,
Hmm.
and I had actually planned on like doing like traveling more to Toronto before the craziness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
How
uh,
how has it hit Sudbury? Like Toronto's still pretty quiet. We're starting to do things in public a bit more, but
hmm.
what about
Like
you guys?
well, like I was saying earlier, I wasn't really able to go visit family or anything like that too much, like on the
Yeah.
reservation. So like they're still pretty much closed down there.
Hmm.
But here in Sudbury, it's not super bad. We like before we have a new wave of 3 cases that happened about a week or two ago,
Hmm.
and like before that though, we hadn't had a new case in like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like because like we're not as dense as Toronto, so it's just like we're not stacked on top of each other, so there's less spread. There's less like ability for the virus to spread.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
overall, like it's pretty chill. Like for the first couple of weeks, I think everybody was sort of like really nervous about what was gonna happen. Like like it's gonna be
Yeah.
full out like contagion. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you've seen the film.
I have
Uh,
not in
oh,
purpose.
dude,
I don't want to watch it.
yeah. I I watched it like about so I want to say 6 to 8 months before this actually happened, and
Hmm.
It's really funny because the guy that did Contagion is also the same guy that did Magic Mike, which is really weird.
What?
Yeah, it's like I think it's Steven Sauter or something like that. I forget what his name is, but like
Oh,
he's the
that's
same
wild.
director. He's done Magic Mike, Contagion. He did a couple other movies too. But like Magic Mike was sort of like a departure from like every other movie that he's done, pretty much.
You should do
Sometimes
Magic
you
Mike
just
Contagion. Magic
yeah.
Contagion.
I think it's one of those instances where like you do what you got to do to get like the money, so you can make your own shit, right? So
No,
I mean,
exactly.
hey, those dudes were jacked. People love that movie, I guess. So
I enjoyed it.
I didn't watch it. Contract work through my regular day job,
Right.
and so like I'll do a lot of the cooking myself.
Yeah.
But like I like making stuff like schnitzel or chicken. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a big fryer. I fry a lot of food, and yeah, so schnitzel like breaded chicken, like cutlets, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
for
I
sure.
love it. But
I haven't had schnitzel in so long, but that's a nice treat every now and then. I kind of
oh hell
dig
yeah,
having
like it.
that. Yeah.
Oh man, schnitzel is delicious. You got pounded like real thin, and then like bread her up and toss her
Yeah.
in. Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
For my taco, they should be thinner, right? Mine are probably a bit too.
No, they should be thicker.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, just larger.
You don't want to like work the bread too much, or else it'll get really hard. So like you do
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 kneads, and then you just like toss her in to your oil, and away you go.
Yeah. And you can
Yeah,
do this. The fellow in the video of the recipe you sent me said you can do it sweet as well, like do like a cinnamon sugar thing on it.
yeah. You can do that for sure. That's like you do it like it's almost like it's basically it'd be like a donut almost, right? Except with less
Right.
sugar, right? So
Or something I'm not. I think I've had maybe once in my life, but I think they're called beaver tails.
oh, is that what beaver tail is? Just fried bread with like
Yeah, I think I had one once, a
mm.
piece of one at like a fair or something. I'd never heard of a beaver tail before, and someone was like, "I hear that's very Canadian." I was like, "Is it?" I don't know.
Yeah, I think they popped up all over the place. And I didn't really know about it till like it's probably like 10 years ago, I guess. And like
Yeah.
driving by, we have one here in town that does beaver tails.
Okay.
The protest that I had wanted to go to, it was Juneteenth.
Okay.
But what had happened was I needed to get tested for COVID. I had mild symptoms. I had a cough, a worsening cough, and I woke up in the morning. My wife's like, "Hey, what's up with that cough?" And wasn't thinking about it at all. So I went to work. I like right before I didn't get into
Oh
like go to get
shit.
changed or anything like that.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, like what do we need to do here?" Like I've got immediately my boss said, "Go get tested." I went to go get tested, and it was 3 days. I got tested on the Wednesday,
Okay.
and I hadn't gotten the results from my test until the Saturday.
Mm.
So I wasn't able to go, and I wasn't even able to take part in like Indigenous Day, like
Oh damn.
celebrations or anything like that. So like I missed like a huge chunk of time where it's like it almost would have been better
Mm.
to like if I got the test earlier on, because like I called my boss and said, "What should I do? Like, can I come back as soon as I get my test?" He said, "No, just stay home." So I
Absolutely.
was like, I was
Yeah.
sort of stoked for a long weekend, right? And that
Yeah.
that long weekend ended up not happening, and I just ended up being stressed out for 3 days.
Oh damn.
And
But
after,
are you okay?
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
fine.
That's good.
It was just a smoker's cough. It turned out that like when I'm working, like I just smoke like a maniac, and
Yeah.
it wasn't great for my lungs, and my lungs were like, "Hey,
Yeah.
chill out," you know. So yeah, but
Probably a good
I
thing.
haven't been able to like take part in any of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I try to do my part like by like I'll post stuff on my Facebook, or like I'll go,
Yeah.
and if I see something on my feed that I don't agree with, I'll say, "Hey, And like
Yeah.
I like to go and look through, like, because I know that facts or numbers won't sway anybody, but because if you have like the opinion that these awful things in the world aren't happening because you feel that it would challenge the way you view things, then you're
Yeah.
not going to care about numbers because
Yeah.
you're acting off of emotions and how you feel about what's going on in the world.
It's been, I think, a really good thing that we've all had to step back from our daily lives and just deal with being apart from each other and listening to each other a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Because I'm realizing, not that I wasn't aware of before, but I'm realizing, holy crap, I know so little about more than I'd like to admit to, and it's like shit.
Yeah, I
Mad.
think that's if you look at yourself critically and like you realize how little you know about the world around you, and like you're like you think like when you're growing up, like, you know, oh, all these adults, they haven't figured out, they know what's going on, when really like nobody really knows what's going on, and we're all just like bumbling along trying to make it work.
Yeah.
And but I think that a lot of the reasons why that this is happening now is because, especially down in the United States,
Mhm.
they don't have a job to go to. They've been cooped up for 3 months. They got $1,200,
Yeah.
so it's like, well, what more do I have to lose? It's like I could go out, like if you'd be worried about going out and protesting and like going to a protest and losing your job, but if you don't have a job to lose, why not go out and protest? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so, yeah,
it's kind of a perfect timing in that regard to just play your cards on the table, to, vocalize what you need to speak up about, and which is, yeah, it's strange that COVID had a benefit in that regard.
yeah.
In a
I
way.
personally think there's a lot of like really cool opportunity for social change and change just
Yeah.
in the way we do a lot of things. That's the
Because
one thing that I'm gonna miss, because like during the summer, right now,
yeah.
this is prime powwow season. And so powwow season, you go and like when you're rolling up to the powwow and you hear like the drums, and like there's just something that feels like home, like that.
Yeah.
More than that, to me. Because
Yeah.
you hear the drums, you hear the singing, you go up, you see everybody in their regalia, you see the dancers and everything. And then inevitably, alongside all of that, there's all the food vendors. So there's like, you go there and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, who has the best tacos? Who's here right now? You need to go. You'll go and you'll get your taco, and like you'll just sit there and you'll hang out with your friends and chit
Yeah.
chat, and it's a great time.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. What is the sort of food spread that would be offered?
So tacos is a big one, obviously. Scone dogs, which is just like fried bread wrapped around hot dogs, which is what I'm going
Delish.
to be making directly after this. You could have like scone burgers. You could have just like fried bread and chili. Like you could just like, or
Mm,
fried bread and like salt pork soup, or
mm,
then there'll be like slushies and all sorts of stuff. It's
yeah.
like it's a lot of fried bread, but there's also like like other stuff that comes along with it too.
Yeah. Is it a big sweets culture or geared towards more savory, salty?
Savory, salty, I want to say.
Yeah.
Although I do gotta say, we did like we're like uh, tapping and making maple syrup is a huge part of the culture.
Yeah. I mean,
It's like,
as a Quebecer, that's like my jam. Like the
yeah,
cabane sucre in the winter, and you put it over the snow, and
yeah, it's delicious. Like that's another part of like growing up on the reservation. You have like the sugar bush,
yeah.
which is like where like, you know, like it's like a traditional activity that like that they always did, right? And like you go and you boil down the sap and you make the syrup, or you just drink the sap as it is, because it's super sweet and it's
So
so good.
good. It's so good.
So good. So yeah, that's like
Yeah.
obviously delicious as well. So like maybe not only savory, but during the summer months, definitely mostly savory.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is the greatest thing about food. It takes you
Mm,
to a place when you don't actually have to travel too far. Which is
so true.
awesome.
Especially the smell of
Oh,
the food,
yeah.
right? The smell of
Yeah.
food, and like you're automatically like brought back. Like whether it's be like the smell of like cookies or like
Yeah.
the smell of like chili or like maple syrup or the boiling sap. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just like those smells will take you back to like a time because it's so closely linked with like your emotional part of your brain, right? They're side by
Yeah.
each. So like you're like, ooh,
Absolutely.
like it brings you back and you're emotional, but just because of like it's a simple smell. That's why I think like
Yeah.
my favorite part of cooking is the smell emanating from the kitchen or from the stove, you know.
Oh gosh. Yeah. For me, like hands down, onion and garlic, that smell,
Mm,
I'm a happy
yeah.
girl. I'm like, what's happening? I need to get to the
Yeah.
kitchen.
2 days ago I went home for the first time since early March.
Okay.
And that was like the longest period of time that I've gone not going to go visit home, you know, and I couldn't contain myself. It's just a smile from ear to ear. And like just like because I know there's like a certain like when you're driving into the village, you like go over this hill and you cross down. There's like these the when they built the road to go towards Manitoulin Island through my
Okay.
reservation. I guess they built like a causeway that like
Okay.
it probably was one big river, well, not river, one big lake there, and then because they built the road through it, it's like there's now two rivers, so it's called Twin Lakes. That's what we call it,
Hmm.
and like just coming across, and the sun was shining, and like the river, not the river, the lake was just shining and it was shimmering because
Mm,
all the sun was glinting off it, and it's just like when you get to that area, you're home. You know, you feel like
yeah.
you're at home, and it was
Yeah.
just that feeling of just like being, you know, the
Yeah.
a belonging, especially because everybody there looks like me. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's such a homogenized society. Growing up
Yeah.
in that homogenized society, and it's just like you know, it was nice. I do stand up, right?
Yeah.
And now, obviously,
And you're great
but
at it.
and now, like so, growing up and watching television or movies or any form of media, I didn't see anybody that looked like me. I didn't have that representation outside
Right.
of something like say like Pocahontas, which is obviously like you know
Right.
not the greatest representation
No.
of my people,
Yeah.
but so I ended up getting into comedy a little bit later. Like I was like 33 years old when I started.
I was
And
37.
no way.
Yeah. So I hear you.
Awesome. Yeah. So it was like and some of it was that I didn't have the map, the roadmap, how to get into it, how to
Yeah.
how to do comedy. And I didn't realize that there was like yes, I saw like stuff on Comedy Now, you know,
Right.
or whatever. Whereas I was watching like people like do stand ups. Like I always wanted to do it. Like that's really cool. That's something that I
Hmm.
really want to do. But not having anybody to say like, hey, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
This is the map. This is how you get from here to there. And so like
Yeah.
it's really important for me to be able to like, you know, like I did that tour with Meg McKay with through EPA, where we went to like all these small communities in Northern Ontario, and we
Cool.
performed there,
Yeah.
and we talked to like kids or
Oh
whoever it was
wow.
that wanted to talk, and to be like, to say like, yeah, you can do this, and this is how you do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's really important to have that representation to show you that yeah, you
Yeah.
can do these things.
What?
And I didn't even get like the courtesy chuckle, you know, like the comic courtesy chuckle where they're like, yeah, I see where it's going. It's not funny. It's not there yet, but like, yeah, I'll laugh just to be nice.
Oh
But I didn't
man.
even get one. I did like I put my brake in case of fire joke in, and nothing hit. And like I had 5 minutes, but I did 3, and I literally walked out the door, and I
Yeah.
said, I talked to the first comic I could talk to, like, why am I even doing this? Why am I putting myself through this? You know, like it was just awful, awful.
Yeah, that's nothing you can teach a kid. They've got to experience that.
Yeah. But it's sort of funny because like I love it, and like I think it's important to have representation. But whenever somebody tells me, my friends tell me I should do stand up, I always say, get better friends. That's my picture on its side. The rest of them turned out all right. So, voila. You grab your chili. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.